Chicken cat.
Celebrate living, celebrate misery. You know that soon we're gonna die.
It's Monday. Happy Monday.
Let's have some fun while we all die.
Happy Monday, guys. Happy Monday out there in the world, wherever you are. If you're in a, if you're in your car right now or your truck, if you're in a van and and you got them headphones on, you got a couple of kids in the back that don't even need to be listening to your wild step cousin Theo right here, because he might throw sometimes my brain throws an expletive and it uses my face to toss it into the universe. And so yeah, but wherever you are, if you're sitting at home snuggled up with a loved one, dude, that sounds beautiful. There's nothing I wish more than that there's two beautiful, or not even beautiful in their own minds, and it doesn't even matter who thinks they're beautiful. I just hope that there's two thick gay men out there just snuggled up somewhere listening to this bad chatter out into the universe, because that's something about that makes me, it doesn't make me feel homoerotic, but it just makes me feel like, you know what? Them big dogs is out there, staying natural and having a good time. And, and we're not, they're not listening to a guy because, he's maybe different than them. And I think about that. But wherever you are, if you're listening to this today, I appreciate you being here with me. Happy Monday, January 15, the year 2017 in time, as far as we know. And dude, I have the game on right now, and I paused it. I have the Saints versus the Minnesota Vikings, and I'm home alone. It got to the point I was like, I got to do this podcast because I got to drive to Brea and do a show. I got to leave in about an hour and 15 minutes or something. So I'm like, I can't watch anymore right now. And I was so amped up. I'm like, what's going to happen? Because the Vikings made a field goal, and then the Saints made a field goal. And so then the Saints were in the lead, but the Vikings were getting the ball back 25 seconds, not a lot of time. But I was like, I just got to pause it. Because I didn't want, if I watched and the Saints lost, I would be really upset or bummed out. So I didn't want to have that natural bum, that free bum, bouncing all, inside of my walls. So here I am, and it's paused. I can see in the background, it's just like a picture of the sidelines on the TV screen, and it's paused. So I'm going to have to get into that later on. Thank you guys for joining us. I want to thank everybody that came out in Brea this weekend, and I want to apologize for anybody that came to the Saturday Night Late Show. Things just got out of hand, like not with me, really just in the audience. There was a lot of people being loud. Some people was upped up. Some people was snickered up on that dust, and it just, I think it ruined some of the show. And the staff, and I love the staff that works there, but they didn't do a good job of holding it down. There was no real mediation of the room, and I just want to apologize to anybody that came out to that Saturday Late Show. And if I'm heading back there in the future, and you want to come see a show, hit me up and I'll see if I can help out with some tickets, because I feel bad about that. Because you guys didn't get the best show, because there was just these, some people were chirping and, I don't know what they were doing, taking each other's pulses or just being just wild. But anyhow, I appreciate if you did come out, and I had a nice weekend in Brea, man. A lot of cool people came out, so I was grateful to everybody that came through. What's going on, man? I got this coffee. Dude, my buddy sent me this coffee for Christmas, and this isn't an ad. My buddy sent me this coffee for Christmas. It says on there, I just opened it. It says, it's called Cups Coffee, and it says Guatemalan single use or something, or 1 year old. And I'm like, damn, this shit sounds, I just want coffee. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to know, I don't need its birth certificate. I want fucking coffee. I want to not have to go buy cocaine. So I want to just use something natural. I want coffee. This shit got me making me feel like I'm involved in sex trafficking or something. This shit says Guatemalan, 72 months or something on it. I'm like, what the hell, man? So now I'm drinking coffee and I'm a little bit nervous, and I just don't want to get caught up in some kind of, who knows? In the future, maybe they'll bust a man. He used to drink coffee that was only 3 years old. No man should be drinking coffee that hasn't been aged, where the beans haven't been aged at least 18 years. And who knows what's next? They taking men out of the universe. They're trying to take us out of the universe sometimes. And I know it's not an intention. I think a lot of this, there's a strong female movement out there. It's like the whole world. It's like Mother Nature herself is about to just, drop an egg, like she's just on that station. And she's about to just drop an egg, and I don't even know where that egg would just pop out of the earth, I guess, just come rolling out of maybe out of the San Andreas Fault. That egg might end up out there in South Riverside or out towards Anaheim. Who knows? But I feel like Mother Nature's she's on that, she's on them tumbles. She's got them belly tumbles, and she wants pickles and chocolate because she's having, she's going through some things. And sometimes it has to happen for things to even out, but damn, they taking everybody's getting called out for being wild and for being too much. Aziz Ansari just got, there was a thing on the internet today. And, the thing is, when first time I read something now, the first thing I think is this true? Who's citing these sources? Are there any real sources? The website or the thing was called Babe.net or something was the company that was saying this. I never heard of them. I never heard of them in my life. So, but the allegations that were out there were just that he was on a date with a girl. He invited her over. He was trying to be nasty and be naughty with her. Or he's trying to be, it seemed like he was being aggressive from this girl's take. And I'm not discounting what she said. I have no clue. There hasn't been there's no trial or anything here. It doesn't seem like. So that's the strange thing. Like, I don't know. Is he being accused of a crime? If that's the case, do you take it to authorities? Or are you just making it aware and using his name? So I guess some of the movement, the Me Too, if it's part of the Me Too movement, is a bit, or Time's Up. I think they changed it now to Time's Up. Is a little confusing to me in that regard, because I don't know what's, is it just awareness? You're using somebody's name. Do they get to say what they thought happened that evening? And I guess he will if he wants to rebuttal it. But it's also, people's perspectives of what's going on when something's going can be different. They can be different. And we didn't all come from the same history or the same experiences. Like, what if a man has only had one girlfriend and she's real rowdy? And she likes the man to fucking, put jingle bells in her ears and, beat her on the back with a fucking, semi-hard billy club, or, put egg yolks on her legs and dip them in damn, planko toast chips and fuck or something like that. Who knows? And then you show up at a girl's, then you show up on a date and you got a sack of straight up, toast crumbs and a deep fryer and a couple of jingle bells, a couple of JBs, and you're ready to rock out. It's like, it's just people's perspectives going into, their history has so much to do with it. So, but it's wild. Here this guy wakes up and maybe he does this kind of stuff all the time, and maybe he's, a nasty cat, and maybe this is something that, that needs to come out to help him get better. And maybe that's the way it's being done now, is just on a public scale. I'm like the future of men. What do you maybe in the future it's you sign an agreement. These are the things I like. These are the things I don't. We're becoming so, you chime into an app. I'm into these 6 or 7 different ideas, and someone has to agree to them. And it's wild. It's a different, there's just a lot going on. There's a lot going on, a lot of factors going on. But I don't know who won the game yet. I do not know who won the game. I do not know who won the game. We got some good calls that came in, man, and I'm not jumping to those just yet, but we have an interview. I have to do a call out to a lovely young lady here in just a second who's going to be on the hotline because we brought up. Well, first I got a call in. Oh, I'm all over the episode, man. This Guatemalan 6-year-old has got me chirping out here, man. We had a call over the weekend that came in about Hawaii, and this was from Josh in Hawaii. Here we go.
Yo, Theo. This is Josh calling in from the island of Hawaii. And yeah, I'm just calling you after a little post-nuclear apocalyptic scare that we had this morning. I woke up to an Amber Alert saying there was an inbound ballistic missile headed to the island of Hawaii.
Rise and shine, boy. Onward.
And I basically woke up into a scarier reality than the nightmare I was having. And there was about 30 minutes where, yeah, that was a real reality, man.
Wow.
I was just constantly updating my Twitter, trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. Nobody's saying this is a false alarm. And I'm walking around outside, just looking at my neighbors, trying to figure out if we're about to be bombed by Kim Song-Jun, whatever that dude's name is over there. Anyways.
Kim Jong-il, baby. And I'm going to say this, you might want to get that man's name under your tongue, you know? Just because if he shows up, that's probably the first question he's going to ask us when he takes over. What's my name? What's my motherfucking name? And if you do, most people are not going to know it. Song Young Lamb, boy, you're out. They're going to chop you down right there. Chip Choppity Chop. Somebody's going to say that, dude. Somebody's going to say your name is Chip Chop Lamb. Young Lamb. Somebody's going to General So. People are going to have the worst ideas and they're going to take you out. So I think his name's Kim Jong-un or Kim Jong-il. The problem is they keep killing these Kim Jongs. You know, little Kim Jong grows up, kills big Kim Jong so he can be the BKJ. And then a little Kim Jong grows up and kills another BKJ, and it just keeps going. Kim Jong-il, uno, dos, tres. That'd be cool, dude, if it was Kim Jong-ocho. That'd be dope. And he came out with a little bit of a Latino flair, you know? Kind of like he, like he just showed up on Monday Night Raw one night and was like, Kim Jong-ocho. But I can't imagine that, dude. Imagine now that moment where you're telling me for 30 minutes you thought this was a reality, that they're ballistic middle. First of all, I'd have to Google ballistic. So that I'm gonna start right there. Like, are these fun? Like, what kind of missiles are these? Like, do I just not have to be within 20 feet of where it lands? Like, what am I up against? But can you imagine that for 30 minutes? I wonder how many Me Too occurrences happen just during that 30 minutes. Because if I'm somewhere and they say you got 30 minutes left, the countdown is here, dude. I'll tell you this. I'm gonna throw down about 300 milligrams of Cialis and finally start talking to the women I've been afraid to talk to most of my life. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. You know, I might have to take a dude down with long hair if he uses good conditioner and I never see his face and I walk up to him from behind and just say, hey, ma'am, are you into wild stuff? And do it like I would never want to see the front of him. But yeah, dude, that's 30-minute countdown. I'd love to know what you did in that time. Well, here's the thing. You had to the first thing you probably did was look more. Is this real? But if nobody knows if it's real, and I think Hawaii didn't even make the announcement until later in the day to say it was an accident, or I'm guessing it took 30 minutes, you just said that. Man, 30 minutes? Right now, somebody says you got 30 minutes, what would you do? I'd probably drive over to somebody that I love. Honestly, it would be a girl, and I would probably try to have sex. I'd talk to my family. You know what? I would have my family on speakerphone, talking to them, and then quietly trying to have sex with a girl who also wanted to have sex with me. So I'd be trying to fuck quietly so that my family didn't know that was going on. And so me and the girl could both enjoy each other's company, but at the same time trying to get my I love yous in, She's like, did you just come on my back? I'm like, no, that's tears. Those are tears. I'm talking to my family. This is a really sad 20 minutes right there. This is a really sad time we're going through because the world is ending. Sorry, that's a little vulgar, man. I don't usually get that vulgar, but I think it's this coffee, man. And it's the game. It's the excitement. And also, I think, man, like, and I appreciate that call, Josh. And if there are things going on in the world and you are a live reporter on the scene of something, it could be anything. It could be a drug deal. It could be a, post-coitus with you and your mate. It could be, you just shot an animal, your buddy just shot it. If there's something going on that, or if there's an earthquake or there's the Hawaiian missile practice, whatever's going on, and you're a live reporter on the scene, hit that hotline. Drop us that information. And we can play it, because that was nice to have Josh call in and let us know what's happening out there in Hawaii. We had a great call that came in on last week's episode, and this was it right here. I'm gonna play it, and then we're gonna call a lovely young lady who's gonna be able to fill us in on some information. Here we go. Let's hear it.
Hey Theo, this is JP from down in Alabama, and I was calling you about dead porn stars, man. Had two of the greats pass away in late 2017. Well, now they've left behind all this material, and I feel like a lot of people that are, scrolling through these porn sites and stuff, they may not know these girls are dead. What are your thoughts on people jerking it to dead porn stars?
Man. And, and some people would listen to this question like, oh, that's stupid. Who cares? That's stupid. It's about pornography. And I know this show, this episode, we've had a little bit of smut chatter. We've been talking about things that are a bit smuttish. And this show isn't devolving into something smuttish. But this was a good question. This is a good question. And I don't really think that I'm going to give you my 2 cents in a minute. But first I'm going to call, I've got a lovely young lady here. Her name is Zoe Monroe. You can check her out. She's a pornographic star, pornographic actress. And she's in, and it's tempting here because she is in, she's out there dancing, in the dark arts. And she's a real professional, and she is, she's good at what she does. I've fell victim to it many times on my home computer. And I'm going to give her a call right now and see what she thinks about this very topic.
Hello.
Zoe Monroe.
What's up?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Taking bong rips on a hammock.
Oh, you're taking bong rips on a hammock, huh?
Yep.
You ever try to do a bunch of cocaine and just stay in a hammock?
I don't think I have.
Well, it's hard to do. I think it's probably easier to stay in a hammock on pot.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah, because cocaine will make you want to get out of a hammock. At one point I felt like I was just trapped in somebody's net. But we had a great call that came in on our podcast this week, and I'm a fan of your work. I'm a fan of you personally. I think you're a real sweetheart.
Oh, thank you, Theo.
Yeah, you. Anytime I've been around, you always make me laugh. I know you're a big pet owner. You got a big heart, and you have a nice, body and everything that I've seen on the internet. And so,
hey.
Yeah. I was just saying on the podcast that I've definitely fallen victim to some of your work over the years. So
that's what I like to hear.
Yeah. Thank you very much. But we had a caller that called in, and he said his question was, last year you guys lost some popular pornographic actors and actresses, I think, but in your industry.
Mm-hmm.
Is it okay? Or what are your thoughts on people masturbating and not knowing if these actors and actresses are dead?
Well, we do what we do to be fantasies. And, like comedians do what they do. You want to make people laugh and you want to have fun. Well, we want to fulfill everybody's fantasies while fulfilling our fantasies and having a lot of sex and fun while we do it. So why not have these stars live on through our fantasies? As long as you're paying for it,
Right. Okay, so that's the biggest thing. As long as you're paying for it. Do you think there should be
because, you know, all the tube sites are ruining the business, and if people still want the amount of porno that we all make for y'all to keep coming out, some people got to be buying it, because who's going to pay us?
Right, that's a good point. So are there sites you recommend if people want to actually support the business that they go to?
Yes, I recommend Elegant Angel. They just released 2 squirting showcases of mine, so naturally I'm going to say them first.
Oh, wow.
Evil Angel's a good one. There's a lot of different angel ones we got.
A little bit of crotch archery, huh?
Yeah.
Now, but now, do you think there should be a special section on these sites where, it should say that these are deceased, if this is where you want to come to see deceased pornographic actresses?
Well, I mean, if you're going to Google one of your favorite stars, some of the pages that will come up first, like your free ones and things like that, will have, I don't know what's the most politically correct way to say this, but like year of death, perhaps, or, something like that.
Okay, and so do you think, now what about, I thought maybe it would be interesting if they had like an in memoriam at the end of a porn, say you're watching some porn, at the end, there's like, do you think that would turn people off? Like you're, spraying out. Next thing you know, it's like, Judy, was, left the earth in 2015. I wonder if that would that could kill some people's buzz.
I can see how that would, interfere with your little after cum euphoria there.
Yeah.
So, I don't really know what the best way to have people find out if your favorite porn star has passed away or not.
But
that's a good question. I don't know if that's a good idea or not to have that.
Do you, if you pass away, and I hope you never do, I want to tell you that.
Oh, thank you, Theo.
Yeah. I mean, I just hope the world just gets to see your skin and your, breasts and, anus and legs and everything for decades to come. And,
oh yeah, me too.
Okay, yeah, good. And but if you ever do you want men to still be jerking off to your material?
I mean, that is why I do it.
Yeah. Do you think there should be a clause maybe that people who work in porn put into their like with a driver's license, you have to get a thing that says like, yeah, I'm willing to donate my organs if I die,
Mhm.
Do you think they should have something like that for you guys, maybe where it's like, oh, well, yeah, if I die, I'm okay with people still.
I mean, the purpose of that would really only be for the fans, because the companies honestly don't give a shit. If they're still making money on it, they're still going to make money on it.
Right.
Either way.
Wow. So, final say, what would you say to this guy then? We had a guy who called in. He said, is it okay to be jerking off to dead people if I don't... Is it okay to be jerking off to dead porn stars?
I think yes, because they made all of that content for you to jerk off to.
Yeah.
I don't see why them being here or not being here would have anything to do with it. But I can't see how that is a very good question.
Yeah. Yeah, it certainly made me think. Well, I appreciate you taking some time to talk to us. You guys can follow Zoe Monroe on her Instagram at Miss MS Zoe Monroe, MONROE. But beware, if you go to her Instagram, dude, you're probably going to end up taking a 15-minute break from work. So one leads to the other, so I try to stay off your Instagram sometimes because... I just can't really control myself, so I just have issues when it comes to self-control.
Hey, we all do.
yeah, it's true. I guess we all do. Well, I appreciate you discussing.
Boner City.
I appreciate you discussing this with us, and thanks, Zoe. And you have to come on the podcast sometime. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks for having me today.
You bet. Have a good evening. Good luck with the hammock and the bong.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Talk to you later.
All right, bye. So there you go. She says, that's what the material's made for. It's made to be out there. It's made for people to, get that jerk up and get that seed up. Now, I feel like there should be a thing at the end. It's like, would that be a turnoff, though? you're squeezing and pleasing yourself, and just treating your wiener like a damn fucking near empty tube of toothpaste, and you're trying to get that last, that last pop. Because that's the thing. When I'm masturbating, it's like, at this point, when I was young, it would just be like, just get that thing to fire and just watch that thing fire. Part of me, and I always have thought I'd be good at archery, because part of me, the best thing about masturbation was that pop. Not even the feeling I would get, but just the joy of seeing that distance, seeing that hit, seeing that, that trebuchet, how far that boulder is going to go. Is it going to, just seeing what kind of, you're like, dang, that's going on inside of my body. I got that electricity coming out of my body. I got that, that's Satan's neutrons, and they're flying out of your freaking body and out of your nuts. And that was exciting to me. But then I do notice that as I get over time, I just want to get as much joy as I can before I, end up, spraying out. I try to get as much like buildup of sheer joy before I end up, catching that pop. So it's kind of evolved a little bit as to what masturbation is for me. But I'll say this, though. I think that you should, now, as viewers, maybe we watch and do a little bit of, maybe you do something before. You light a candle. I got a candle lit right here, even just for this conversation, because I knew we was definitely going to be delving into the darks, into the dark arts. And so you light that candle, or maybe you do put some oranges out like they do in India. Sometimes they have a little picture of, Ganesh, the elephant, and a couple of oranges or little potpourris or something. You light up a couple of candles or throw some sage around the room if you know whoever you're going to masturbate to is deceased. Maybe you take it on that yourself as a person to have a little bit of, because I personally do think it's a little bit wild to be cracking on, some deceased footage of somebody. It's a good question, because here I am changing my mind mid-sentence. It's a good question, but I feel like for me, I would feel better, and I try to stay away from pornography. But for me, I would feel better if I didn't do it, if I did not do that, if I did not watch it at all. But I would then feel better if there was a in memoriam at the end. You spank, you're stacking skeet inside of your body and stacking and stacking and stacking and stacking, and you're watching, and then, at the end it says, Molly Tit Butt, or whatever her name was, whatever the girl's name was, Molly Butt, tits and butt ass, or whatever, something sexier than that, obviously. Lopez, make her fancy, she was, alive from, 2000 to 2019. And you'd be like, whoa. I think it would make it more real. I think things like that would make it more real. And maybe you throw in a couple of other stats. She liked to, the Fast and the Furious series. And she had a couple of bad tattoos that she was saving up money to get removed. Or something like that. Something that makes her a little bit more personal. That could be interesting. But then, like Zoe said, a lot of that is fantasy. A lot of that is, you want the fantasy. So if they had if a headstone, if you had a headstone section of pornography, would that kill the fantasy? And I could see also how it very well could. So yeah, I think if you light some candles or do some special stuff, maybe, get out one of those, a lot of times in some of the churches, they'll have these little, the priest will go up and down the aisles with this wand full of holy water and just, he's just basically doing that's just skeeting out of his own wand, but it's water. It's spirit skeet, basically. It's holy water. And he's throwing that on people to get everybody hyped up about the, about the Lord feeling good for everyone. He's getting everybody hyped up. But if you did that, maybe, or something around your house, you throw some sage, or you do something spectacular before you delve into it. So you got a little bit of the protection of something good in your heart before you're out there jerking off to the deceased. Because any way you look at it, in the end, you are jerking off to the deceased. So that's one way to see it. Here's some other ways to see it. You guys had some calls that came in. Here we go.
Hey man, this is Brandon calling from San Diego. I actually just saw your show at the Brea Improv. Anyway, I'm calling in regards to...
Oh, well, I appreciate that. You notice he didn't say that it was good? I think he might have been at the Saturday Night Late Show. Thank you for coming out, Brandon, though. I do appreciate you, man. Onward.
the gentleman that called in the last podcast asking if it was right to be jerking it to deceased porn stars. You know, there's two ways to look at this, I think. The one way is like, you know, you're thinking, man, this girl's dead in the ground. Like, this is her ghost fucking this dude. Like, can I even get hard to this? And if I can, like, should I nut to this? Like, does this feel right?
Now, that's a good point. There's two moments there. Should I get hard to this? Because getting hard to something, that's one thing. But catching that bust, that's another thing. You know? Freaking letting out that, you know, that fucking, that, you know, just letting that fucking, that nut goose fly out of your wand, that's something, that's another thing. That's two different things. So I'm glad you're saying this. Onward.
And, you know, I get that. You can get creeped out going down that path, but there's another way to look at it too, and that's that, you know, these girls, this was their passion, this is their career, this is, a lot of them loved what they did, you know, and it was an art to them. I just think about, like, when Michael Jackson died, man, like, the radios were blowing his songs up for weeks afterwards, you know, and, you know, people still listen to his music now. I think that you can still have that connection with even a porn star, too. It's just another medium of entertainment, isn't it? Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it could be like the Mona Lisa. People still go see that. I mean, early pornography, when you think about it, is in all these books and the Rodin and all those, like, all these famous old painters, these, you know, Peter Paul Rubens, I think the man's name was. They would paint all these women, and they would put them in these big, you know, it's usually kind of Rubenesque, sort of, you know, healthy, regular-looking girls, and they would put them in these magazines. A lot of times they'd be laying in the woods or have, like, an apple near them or a couple of pieces of fruit or some, usually fruits or something like that, or maybe sometimes there'd be a fox, I feel like, in the back, like a fox or maybe a little animal, but usually it was like them just laying there, you know, long pretty hair, and that was early pornography. You know, that was it, and that is now considered collector's art. I mean, some of those paintings are worth, it's a baffling amount of money. But that, I mean, look, pornography is so popular you would not believe it. Pornography had the first videos you could watch online were pornography. Think about that. Now everything's video. The first ones you could watch online were pornography. Pornography has led the explosion and the dissemination. I don't think that's what the word is, but it's led, like, after the Bible was printed. You know, once the Bible was printed, after that, pictures of freaking ladies started milling around. You know, they'd have dudes walking 3 nights out into the desert to dig up a picture of old, you know, the original camel toe that they had hid out there to jerk off. And that's what was going on. You know, when the internet started and people were one of the biggest catalogs of collected images, one of the first and biggest was pornography. People looking to jerk off. People want to look at the Constitution, make sure it was real, basically, just Xeroxes of it or whatever they could see online. And then there was huge catalogs of pornography. When the Berlin Wall fell, here's a fact for you. When the Berlin Wall fell, a lot of pornography could get out of there. People needed money. So you could buy, there were these like moguls, these pornography moguls who were buying, you know, for $100, they'd get a, you know, 200 images of a sexy, you know, Polish girl or German girl, and then they would sell subscriptions to people online on some of these early sites, and they'd sell them for a ton of money. They were making so much money, it was crazy. But porn, I mean, the first thing they get, I bet you if you go back to hieroglyphics, I bet they got, the first thing you see is like a fire, a little bit of directions, maybe a recipe. Somebody drew like some wheat and plus, you know, a picture of some, you know, maybe a boar's hip or something, or a cut of vark or a fucking pheasant or a damn moose or something, you know, plus water pot equals, and then, they draw pictures of people eating together. But if you walk down that cave and look probably behind a little bit of a rock or a few pictograms over, somebody sketched out some crotch or some cooter, some pornography. It's a huge business. It's heavy. It's big. It's a big thing. It might even start to behoove them to have a section that is, epitaph porn or, rest in porn. That could be a cute little section they could do. So I'm curious to see, as more and more porn stars die, how do they embrace this as an industry? I wonder if they still get residuals off of that. I don't think they do. I think from everything that I know, a lot of these girls just get flat fees. I should have asked Zoe that. But, man, if you've seen Zoe, boy, you got to get out there, boy. She's done. Man, I wish I could do. My butt cannot even do any of those tricks, and I'm grateful that it can't, but she really got, she's, man, make you get off the bus, boy, and walk out in the woods, dude. Man, make you get out there and be alone by yourself and be by yourself. Okay, let's catch a couple more responses here. Well, here's one more we got.
Hey, Theo. What's up, man? This is G from Phoenix. Just calling in about JP's question, jerking off to dead porn star. I think that it would be disrespectful not to, because that's kind of like, that's their art form. You think if Denzel Washington died, that he would want us to stop watching Training Day? If anything, you should have a marathon and watch all of them. I don't know if you could do that in a row, especially some of these bigger ones, because they have such a volume of work. It just translates like that. Denzel would want us to remember the Titans, not black it out and not ever watch it again.
Well, true, that's a good point. But if you remember the Titans, dude, and you out there trying to remember them, I'm not jerking off to remember the Titans. That's the thing. I'm not out there jerking off to, Sergeant Sully lands the plane or whatever that movie was. So that's the thing. It's different if you're at the movie theater and Denzel Washington's dead and you're jerking off to, whatever, Stand By Me or something I think he might have been in, then that's fucked up. But if with a porn star, it's a little different because there is that physical connection where there's expected to be, I think, a release. But I respect that. It'd be disrespectful not to watch. They did the work. They put it out there. In 30 years, this could be like those, like the books when I used to go see in the library. And I've told this story before that when I was young, I was into pornography early. And once I saw it, the first real porno magazines I found in my well, the first one, this boy at the library showed me a picture of it and beat me up. And then we had this other kid before that used to draw. You have to draw crotches. If you wanted to see a crotch, you had to get him to draw you one. Because this dude was, he was just like Jared the Jeweler. This dude had the best. He could draw. He could draw it all. And that's what you get for the weekend. Give him, $6 or something and get that drawing of crotch for the weekend. But then, I started going to the library and seeing these Rubenesque women in these old volumes of in the library. And, dude, I remember I'd be so erect in there, in that library. And I would take this book and literally close the book on my wiener, and just kind of smash it against it, like press the book against it on both sides until I, expelled joy out of my body. And that's just being young. I think I was probably 12, And we've all done weird stuff, and I'm not proud of that, but I don't feel a lot of shame of it because this wasn't a time, that's how, if we wanted porn, it was so rare to come across. So anything that would get me lit a little bit in the crotch, I would find it. And I found those, these were encyclopedias, art encyclopedias. And they had pictures from Rodin and Peter Paul Rubens and some of these other artists. And I'd get in there and just look at the picture and then just close it up on because just that pressure on your rod at that time, at that youth, with that virility going through you, really brought you to the end of, it brought you to what you wanted. It brought you to want to, get that free ounce out of your body. But here we go. One more call right here, and this came in from Jennifer. Here we go.
Hi, this is Jennifer, and there was a question about the porn star thing. I don't really think that it's wrong to masturbate to a porn star that's dead. I just think it's kind of like, it's artwork in its own way, I guess. I think if they cared, they would have wrote a will and said, when I die, take my shit offline. Hi, this is...
Well, and there you go. Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate that call. And I'm thinking about it more now as I'm even hearing it. Now when I hear a woman's voice say it right there, it puts it a little bit more, it makes it more real to me a little bit, you know, because the pornography that I watch is women. You know, I enjoy women's sex and man and woman sex together. You know, I enjoy heterosexual sex on the internet watching. That's what if I do watch, which I try not to watch anymore. Sorry. Which I try not to watch anymore. That's what I watch. But if I, after hearing Jennifer's voice right there, it kind of, I don't know, in a weird way, it just made me have a little bit more, not respect for women, but it made it more real all of a sudden. That just now, just in this moment of hearing her voice, talking about it, for me, and this won't be for anybody else, but I think that I would now, I want to know if they're deceased or not. I think that they should put a regulation on the porn websites. If someone is deceased, have a little headstone pop up in the beginning, you know, or like have a you know, a cross or a Star of David or a you know, a Hindu statue, whatever, or Muslims, whatever their religion was, have something, you know, a 2-second homage to that. Maybe have a, you know, or have the head, you know, have the memoriam, you know, Busty Barbara, you know, 1998 to 2007. You know, have that bust up every now and then. Or that's, is that old enough? Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, like, have that pop up every now and then so at least you know what's going on. But I would like that, and I would, because otherwise I don't want to be out there busting nuts to, I don't want to be out there ejaculating to the deceased. And you know why? Because there's tons of women on the websites who are not deceased. And that sits better in my soul. So I think that these sites should have a little bit of respect and put the women into a special folder or a special, you know, site box or whatever that says, you know, the graveyard or whatever, you know, so that then at least you can you can masturbate slower, or you can wear something nice while you masturbate, or you can have some regard for the fact you can light some candles. Like I said, you could do the sage, you could do whatever. You could have some regard for the fact that these women are no longer alive. Because I don't think when I get to the reckoning spot or whatever it is, you know, when I get into that great big cliff in the air, and the spirit that's out there, the higher power, whatever it is, says jump, and that's when you find out if the big dog gonna catch you in his hand. Or the big woman, whoever it is, or they're going to let you fall down into the smithereens, and a dragon is just going to fucking eat your legs off while you're falling through the air. I don't want that to be another anvil that's weighing down in my body, deep in my soul, that I was, you know, I was making free ones, to the deceased. I don't want it. And simply because there's enough work out there where I don't need it. So I'll take that right there. What else? I want to talk about the game, dude. I still don't know who won. I could easily see that Minnesota completed 2 passes and got in field goal range. I could easily see that. What else? Right here, I'm going to check in. That's it, man. I had some more stuff I wanted to get into, but... This is in the news. I'm going to hit this news story real quick. A man claiming to be a police detective went to his local adult porn shop and demanded they give him free porn videos so he can make sure none of the performers were underage. What a smut muppet. He made 3 attempts within a 9-day span when the store owner finally had enough and called the police. This man is still on the run. If you encounter a man claiming to be with the... Sorry, this is making me laugh. It's not cool. With the age verification unit, make sure you don't give him any of your porn for free and alert the police immediately. And like Zoe said right there, man, a few minutes ago, you know, hit the sites that she mentioned. Pay for the porn, get the good stuff, get involved, support your artists. You know, if Picasso said, "Hey man, you want to come watch me paint?" You're like, "Nah, just look at your old shit all the time." He's like, "It's $3 to get in here and watch me sketch something out." Would you go watch him, you know, bust a fucking series of color nuts out of his hand and imagination? Would you go watch him paint and make something? You might. Instead of just looking at his old shit. So support that. Support that. We have 2 more calls that came in. Actually, one was an email that I wanted to get some, maybe some suggestions you guys might have. If anybody out there has kids, you guys might have some information on this. I'm going to tell you my upcoming dates. This weekend, I'll be at the New Comedy Club in Jacksonville, Florida. That's the 18th through the 20th. I'll be at Harvey's in Portland, February 8th through 11th. February 16th through the 18th, I'll be at La Jolla, California at the Comedy Store. February 22nd through the 24th, I'll be in Indio, California at Fantasy Springs. And April 6th and 7th, I'll be in Tampa, Florida at Rock Brothers Brewing. There's also, I think, March 22nd and 23rd, I'll be in Tacoma, Washington. Let's hit one more call right here. Here we go.
Hi, Theo. My name is Nicole. I'm calling from Houston, Texas.
Thank you for your call, Nicole. Onward.
I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have a young boy, and I'm expecting another young boy here in a few months.
Oh, congratulations. He's going to have a brother. You know, that's pretty special. I don't think, you know, you can't really plan ahead on a lot of that, you know, you know, I don't think, you know, as a parent, maybe you don't know what you're creating when you make a brother for a kid. But that can be, I mean, there's no other relationship like that. So, you know, I commend you on being brave enough to have 2 children, because not only you're going to be creating a relationship with you and your son, you're going to be broadening your family, but you are giving a kid a brother. And there's nothing, you know, I can't explain to you, you know, I'm fortunate enough to have a brother, and I can't explain to you what that relationship is like. It hasn't always been great, but it's just it's so great to have a brotherhood, to be able to compare and navigate how I'm supposed to behave towards other men, and how and have someone who already is a little bit of a blueprint of myself out there to look at and feed off of, to get ideas and inklings for things and get some advice and some suggestions. So you're really creating something awesome. So I commend you for that. Onward.
And I, along with what seems like my entire community of girlfriends, we were all professionals that chose to stay at home. And when that happened, we saw that we were underserved in the capacity that we're taught how to be great employees, great coworkers, but we have never been taught how to manage a home and to raise children, you know, do all of those things, a bit more traditional in nature. So my question to you is, especially since you have talked to us a lot about the sort of war against men, the culture of irresponsibility, which we all see that's happened and is happening. What are some things that you as a man would advise new moms to instill in their young sons to be later good men? Does that make sense? I hope so. Hi, Theo. My name is Nicole.
And that just circles back around her call. Sometimes it just plays. If I let it go through, it starts back over. But that's a great question. Let's hear the very end of it again. Here we go. One more time.
Are some things that you as a man would advise new moms to instill in their young sons to be later good men?
That does make sense. Sorry to clear my throat there. It does make sense. If, you know, I think spending time with them one-on-one as they get a little bit older, you know, as they get to be like 5, 6, 7, 8, spend some time just separately. Go do something separate with your son. You know, one of the only things I ever got to do with my mom that was just me and her was we went to Wendy's one time. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but, and I probably have talked about this before, but, you know, my mother worked all the time. You know, she didn't want us to be on welfare, so she worked. And I'm not saying that she's better than your mom. I'm not saying that she's better than your grandmother or she's any different. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying that, and I think she worked sometimes too because she was probably stressed out from having 4 children. She didn't know what else to do maybe sometimes, so she did what she knew how to do, which was to work. But one time I was sick or something. I couldn't be at school. I could have gotten, you know, expelled maybe, or not expelled, but suspended. And so I had to go to work with my mom. And we rode around, it's like different cities or whatever, and we're delivering like magazines. She was delivering magazines at the time. And we were delivering these magazines. And it was just kind of cool because I got to be with her. It was just me and her. And we went to Wendy's for lunch. And I'd never went to a lunch place just with me and my mom before. You know, and we there was too long of a line inside, so we went through the drive-thru. And we got sandwiches, and we just rode around and ate them. And I'm sure I was probably an asshole that day, but, you know, it was a typical kid. But looking back, I remember it as like one of my favorite times where I got to spend time with just me and my mother. So I would just make sure that, you know, or I don't know, make sure I don't have a family, but I think that that's important to make sure there's some connection there. And then, you know, I think try not to tell your son, he don't always want to hear what will do better. Sometimes he just wants you to love him and just let him know that he's okay. And to, you know, let him know that you love him. That's it. You know, sometimes a kid doesn't always hear how it could be better, or how he could have done it different or what, because they don't, that's adult stuff. You know, and I've struggled with that over my life, telling people they could do better. You know, sometimes people just want to hear that they're not alone, and especially your son will want to hear that. And then I would take some control, and I would talk to him about how he treats women, because I don't think that's a conversation that just men need to have with their sons anymore. I do think that that's a conversation that women need to have. And I commend you. I think that the toughest thing a woman can do is be a mom. And to manage the home and to take the risk of there being less income in the home, to stay at home and create that family. But if we can get out of what the world tells us is good and we can get back into what our heart tells us is right or good, I'm not going to say right, that's not the word, but feels good, then I think, you know, we'll find a lot of times that it's being with our family, you know, and having those fun times and having those, you know, ridiculous. My favorite time that I ever had when I was young was when the power went out and my family would all be together and we couldn't fight or beat each other because they had candles lit, and it's dangerous to beat each other around candles. So we would just be together, and we were kind of scared and nervous, but we were all together, like in one place. You know, my mom had 2 candles, and so we would have to be by her, and we would have to be together. And it was just, I don't know, there was something special about that. So, you know, I think those are a few things, but that might be some good calls, man. Maybe we can do that. Have a couple of calls that come in about that. If you guys have some thoughts on that, you know, and that's, you know, you heard her question, and I appreciate that question. I'm going to play it for you guys one more time. Here we go.
That's happened and is happening. What are some things that you as a man would advise new moms to instill in their young sons to be later good men? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. And I mean, some of those are just going to be general, regular things, but I think I would love to hear some answers on this question for today, for today's society, today's times, because there is some evolution that needs to happen in, I think, some of the ways that we communicate. Well, we can't help it. Evolution is happening. You know, it's like we have to communicate now on, you know, cellular devices. And, you know, I think, so it's got to be a lot harder for parents. So maybe, I I don't know what's up. I'd love to maybe hear if you guys have some stuff. I had some more awesome calls that came in, and I wanted to get to some of them. I just have to go do this comedy set, guys. I'm sorry, but I will be back on Thursday, and we'll get into some more good stuff, dude. You guys stay safe out in Hawaii. They had a mailman in Louisiana that finally admitted to burning all the mail instead of delivering it. And you know what, dude? That's fucking awesome, but also go fuck yourself, bruh. You know? Mark Wayne Thompson pled guilty to delay or destruction of mail. Thompson admitted that instead of delivering mail, he just took it home with him and burned it. As a result, he now faces up to 5 years in prison or 3 years supervised release. That's hilarious. What you in for, man? Oh, you know, fucking cooking up a batch of cooking up a batch of Bed Bath & Beyond coupons. Oh, what is the world coming to? I don't know, but I think we can embrace it with a smile as it does. You know, there is dark stuff going on out there. You know, porn stars are dying. People are jerking off to dead people on the internet. And you might not like the way I frame that, but that's a real framing. That is a real framing, boy. That's Michael's. That's done in the back of Michael's. You know it. It's more expensive than you thought. That's real framing. You know, but there's still also those mothers out there who are asking, how can they help and do and raise their kids? And they want to know from kids who have grown up. What could your mother or your mother, what did she do, or what could your mother have done that you think would have helped you along the way? And that is a good way I think we can frame that question. So I appreciate you guys' calls, man. I appreciate everybody that came out in Brea. I hope to see you guys soon. We'll do some ads in the upcoming episode. Oh, that's my brother. My brother right there. What's up, Z?
Hey, bruh. You saw it?
Dude, don't tell me what happened. No. I didn't. Look, do not tell me.
Oh, man, you should have texted me, man.
Well, that's why I didn't.
I wouldn't have told you anything if you had said, hey, don't tell me anything about the game.
No, actually, this is a perfect ending because I'm just finishing up my podcast. This is the very end, and I don't know what happened. I paused it right after the Saints kicked their field goal. There was 25 seconds left.
Yeah.
And you're on the podcast now, and I can take this off later if you want, but...
okay.
But why don't you tell me what happened? I want to know.
Oh, now you want to know what happened in the game?
Well, yeah, I mean, now's the time to know. This is almost, I mean, I'm just finishing the podcast. This is the perfect time, and we were just talking about brotherhood and stuff a minute ago, so this is kind of, it's perfect.
All right, we want me to give about 10 minutes about who I am? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, dude.
Well, there was 10 seconds left. It's third and 10 or whatever. They need about 20 yards to get a field goal range, 25 yards, maybe more than that. And, you know, I'll put it like this. There's a 1 in 100 chance that the Saints lose. 1%.
Yeah.
And they fell into that 1%. Yeah. They lost. Dude, he threw it to Tavon Diggs, whatever his name is. The dude caught it like the 40, right?
Right.
About probably 4 feet from the sideline. Marcus Williams was right there. Like, all he had to do was literally pull him to the ground. But for some weird reason, when Tavon Diggs jumped in the air, Marcus Williams, like, dove underneath him. I don't know what he was doing. Like, I think he was trying to upend him or something. And when he dove underneath him and missed him, I mean, clearly missed him. Like, by 2 feet. He rolled into the other cornerback. I don't know who, it might have been Lattimore, who it was there. Then Tavon Diggs just ran into the end zone.
No, they got a touchdown?
Yeah, it was 0 seconds on the clock. Yeah, 10 seconds left, dude. They were like on our 35?
Yeah.
No, and they're on 35 or 40, yeah. Like a 1% chance we would lose that game at that point.
Damn, man.
I think they lost like that similar to Tampa Bay. I didn't see the end of the Tampa Bay game, but
it just kind of makes me mad.
Man. It was a heartbreak, man. It really was, because I didn't think we'd win that game. We were down 17-0 at the half.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't think we'd win going in. We had like a 30 or 40% shot, and we came back and really played really well the second half. And
yeah,
dude just made such a weird play. I don't know what he was. I really don't know what he was doing. I can't figure it out. You know, I mean, they contained him well. I mean, it was like a last ditch effort, basically, is what it was. And I just don't see how.
Yeah.
But it happened. You know, it's over now. I mean, our season's over. I still can't believe it, but it is over. But man, I mean.
Yeah, the weirdest stuff, dude. Damn, man.
I know it. We had the game, man.
I figured we have a really good shot here, man.
Yeah, I'm ready to go smoke some crack now.
Damn, dude, you out there, boy. Quick question. So actually, we had a lady that called in, and she said, "What is something?" She's about to have her second child, and she said, "What is something that mothers can do with their sons these days to help make them better men?" And it's kind of a question for mothers, but it's also a question for sons. What do you think is one thing?
Something a mother can do with their children to make them better men, their sons?
Yeah, or something they could talk to them, instill in them. I don't know. I think it was a little bit broad, but...
Yeah, well, I don't know if there's a lot you can do when those children are young to make them better men when they get older.
Mm-hmm.
I think that male stuff we learn when they're a little bit older, but when they're young, I think the best thing mother could do is emotionally connect with their children and be emotionally available.
Yeah.
Don't make sure that the child knows that their behavior does not determine your love for them, even if it makes you upset what they do, what they don't do. And another thing though is you can tell children early on, you can explain certain things to them. You might have to simplify it, but they will understand you.
Right.
I tell my 5-year-old, I've been telling them, my 5 and 4-year-old, or the 6 and 5 now, but even since they were 4, if I'm mad at you, it doesn't mean I don't love you.
Mm.
All right, no matter what you do, I'll love you.
Mm.
Now, that's what you do may get you in trouble, but it does not mean I don't love you. And they understand,
yeah. Now that's huge.
Yeah, my 5-year-old will say, "You're mad at me, you don't love me." He'll say that. Max will say that.
Ooh.
And I'll say, "No, it doesn't mean that. It means that I'm mad at you." So you kind of, you just got to help them along. And emotional availability, and accept unconditional love is what they need. I mean, that's the only type of I feel like in life that needs unconditional love or warranted is father, parent, child, especially mother, child. I mean, they have to know that you love them no matter what they do. Even if they kill somebody when they're 8 or 10. I mean, I'm not saying, I'm just an extreme example.
No, they got some young hitters out there.
Yeah. The amount of your love should not waver. Now.
Yeah, because you're the only place they can get that.
Right. And you may choose not to talk to them or be extremely disappointed not to talk to them for a year, whatever, but so I think it's real important, because sometimes in our society where our worth is built on what we do or what we don't do. And I think that a lot of that starts in parenthood, when the children are young.
Yeah. You can fill that tank up early and let them know that. Now, look, man, I even just liked hearing that, that not what, my behavior, if I would have heard that when I was young, I think I would have, I might be a little bit of a healthier person today,
Yeah, no, me too. I mean, as you know, me too.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you calling. I'm going to call you later because I got to run. I literally have to drive straight to Brea right now.
All right, I'm going to go hit this crack. Love you.
Damn, love you too. Bye.
Bye.
That's my brother, Zeffirino. He lives down in, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But, yeah, I think that's an interesting answer. He really likes to think about this kind of stuff, and he loves to be a parent. And his wife is a stay-at-home mom, and that's a CEO in my book. I mean, if I could go back in time, and this just got me a little bit emotional, but if I could go back in time and have anything, I would have that, I mean, I can't even imagine what that would be like, to just be at home and be having fun and be comfortable and have your mom around, So, but anyhow, dude, you guys are hitting me in a hot beat here at the end. But that's a great question. We'll leave it right there. I had a lovely young a gentleman, Mr. Ochoa, who messaged in. He's afraid to call in. He had a question I thought was interesting. But we're going to get to that on Thursday, brother. So if you're out there, hold the line, and we'll see you then. If you have questions, hit the hotline, 985-664-9503. I'm running to Brea. I appreciate you guys. Be good to yourselves. You probably deserve it.